They call him the Swiss Merchant.
Oh, that's a snipe. Joreuz gladly accepts the infield pass from Archie.
Beast Mode gonna play him close. He's only got 36. Takes the challenge. It's too aggressive. Joreuz has the freebie. Joreuz takes it to game 7.
Get back
no
into the
boost.
other side of the field. Joreuz, low boost. Has he squeezed it in? Has he ever?
Managed to stay on the attack. Here is Joreuz. He can wake his team up right here, right now. He manages it. Threads that needle home.
Joreuz is a professional Rocket League player who has reached the heights of winning RLCS regional championships, yet also tasted the bitterness of early exit defeats. No RLCS career goes unblemished, however, and one thing Joreuz has never done is give up. Here's his story as told by Joreuz himself, from humble beginnings to moving across the world to play in North American RLCS.
I always watched Joreuz Boy, and I was always a very big ones guy as well. So my dream was to make it, not necessarily make it pro, but to get on Johnny's stream on ones.
Joreuz started his Rocket League journey out playing on the PS4, and although he got quite good and even peaked at #1 on the PS4 only leaderboards, it felt like there was a hurdle he could never cross, that he was being held back by his platform. That all changed when Joreuz got his first PC and the real grind began.
When I bought a PC, immediately I was good in ones. Like I think after the first months, I came to top of the leaderboards. And then Johnny asked me, and I was like, "Damn, like I'm finally here." Because back on PS4, like I would DM Joreuz Boy on Twitter, like, "Yo, I'm the #1 PS4 ones player. Can you give me a show match?" But he always aired me. So like when he came to me for a show match, I was gassed.
Appearing on Johnny Boy's show matches was a dream come true for Joreuz, but his Rocket League aspirations didn't stop there. He wanted to make his name known in the RLCS, Rocket League's prestigious 3v3 tournament. However, he needed a team for that, and turned to some other young up-and-coming pros, Archie and Calyx. Together, they were the Clappers.
We were good players. In the 8 months after I went to PC, like in that time I grew a lot, and Archie, since he was like 13, he was like a rank X player. He was already great. We were gonna play RLCS with Calyx as well, so we kind of were already a sort of team. We were rookies that everyone knew were gonna make it to at least RLCS.
But unfortunately, fate had other plans for Joreuz and company.
The month before RLCS Season 9, Archie and I, who were both 14, were like hoping that the qualifier would start after March 11th, because my birthday is March 8th and his is March 10th or 11th. So we could play RLCS, because the minimum age used to be 15 back then. So when the news came that RLCS Season 9 qualifier was March 2nd, we were completely bummed out because we were like 5 days too young.
Although his team just barely missed out on a chance at playing during RLCS Season 9, a new opportunity would come along rather quickly.
So we were all bummed out, and then they announced this, I think it was spring series, a tournament, and we're like, okay, if we're not gonna make RLS, let's just keep grinding just for this. And then qualifiers happened, and we were better than the pro teams.
In May of 2020, Psyonix held online Rocket League Spring Series tournaments in all the RLCS regions. And for the first time ever, top RLCS teams would be competing against other teams from an open qualifier. An open qualifier that Joreuz took full advantage of.
They were RLCS, and we were like a bunch of 15-year-olds. So that was big when we beat them, like we were so happy, and then rest of history.
His team went on a tear through the upper bracket, not dropping a single series, and along the way they even beat an RLCS team, Singularity, to clinch their spot into the main event. Unfortunately, the Cinderella story only went as far as lower bracket quarterfinals, where the Clappers ended their run at top 6.
Even though it wasn't an official RLCS event, like there's so many nerves, like you're playing against people that you always watch growing up for the first time. Like if we'd scrim against other non-pros, bubble teams, but it's like the first time it's like you're seeing the names that you used to watch when you were like 12 years old, and then you're in the same lobby as them. So the nerves did get to us, I remember that, but it was such a big experience for every single one of us, where everyone started noticing us as well.
More important than the prize money Joreuz earned in the Spring Series was the spotlight he was put under. Accomplished pros from across the European scene were recognizing him, and it earned him a particularly notable tryout.
Just messaged me, Panda, like, yo, do you want to try for our team, for our spot?
The legendary Team Dignitas had come calling, and they wanted Joreuz on their team.
And I think from the start on, it was almost already like kind of set that it was going to be me. As long as I wasn't completely bad, they already figured it was me, because young guy in mechanics still needs to learn a lot about the game, and in that way it was kind of like Astro in a sense. But they just messaged me and asked if I could do the fusion, which was great for them as well, because I was a once player. We just played a few tournaments together, had scrims together, and I didn't feel like I was competing for a spot. It felt like I was with them from the beginning, which was a great feeling.
Tryouts went great, and Dignitas performed well in several off-season tournaments, so they turned to Joreuz and looked to make it official.
It was like an offer you can't refuse. They were the champions and they were replacing Astro, which was a big ask for me to do, and I didn't fill his shoes at all. But it was like insane. Like they top 3-4 LAN they made, and now the EU champions ask you to join their team. Like it's an offer as a 15-year-old. Sounds too good to be true.
Unfortunately for Joreuz, it was a bit too good to be true. In his first split of RLCS, Dignitas struggled.
We didn't perform that well, Yukio, Panda and I.
Dignitas had a couple top 8 finishes that split, but it was only enough to put them at 10th in Europe, a far cry from the EU regional champions of just the prior season.
I learned that it is pretty damn hard to perform under pressure. Like it was humbling experience.
Despite the poor performance, that split was transformative for Joreuz. He wasn't just learning how to be a better Rocket League player, he was learning how to be a better teammate as well.
And I also learned that every one of those guys are just normal human beings. Everyone has faults. You have to see your teammates as well as humans. And at the start I didn't really see them. I saw them as gods, because that's what they were to me.
Before the next split, Dignitas dropped Yukio and picked up apparently Jack in his stead, a decision that would turn out to be very fruitful.
That team, Jack, Panda and I, we had an amazing winter split. Also off-season, I think we perfect swept an entire tournament, which was ridiculous.
The winter split was a return to form for Dignitas. They capped off 2020 with a win in Rocket League Summit 2. Then, in January, they got 3rd place at EU Regional Event 3, and even got 3rd place at the EU Winter Major. Dignitas was back, but unfortunately, success wouldn't last.
In Spring Split, we didn't win a lot of matches. I had a lot of nerves, and I think that was the story of us as well. We just fell off, and once we fell off, we didn't have anything in our arsenal to bounce back.
The spring split was a disaster for Dignitas. They got 13th to 16th in the first regional event and never recovered. And at the end of the season, Joreuz knew he had a tough decision to make. The team needed a change.
There's no disrespect to Panda. He was a great player in his career, but he had tendonitis in his stomach, so he couldn't play the game when he wasn't on any sort of painkiller meds. Back then, like, he didn't know how to flip reset, and he couldn't evolve, so he kind of fell off. And then we got Scorpkiller, also a world champion, but Scorpkiller knew how to do mechanics, and it was such fresh air for us as well. Panda, like, he was solid, he was smart, but you wouldn't see him going for double tap to win the game, and you had Scorpkiller, and he could do all that.
Joreuz had traded one former world champion teammate for another, and had turned Dignitas onto the right path.
And we started immediately to play well, which was great. We had so much belief in ourselves, we loved each other.
Not only was Dignitas solidly back at the top of Europe, as the worst they placed was top 4, they also won Joreuz's first ever RLCS regional championship.
That regional win was awesome, first regional, and you feel you're on top of the world.
This split out of Joreuz could not have come at a better time. RLCS was about to have their first international LAN since the Season 8 World Championship back in 2019. Joreuz and his squad had passed the split with flying colors. So not only did they qualify to the Fall Stockholm Major, they entered as Europe's 2nd seed. And when the start of the major came about, the first round, the Swiss stage, they didn't slow down.
Perfect Swiss, it was great. My Jack and I's first LAN as well, RCS LAN. We were buzzing. Like I was so happy with myself because I feel like I probably did one of my best performances ever. That Stockholm Swiss stage.
3 straight matches, 9 straight games, 9 straight wins. Dignitas exited the Swiss stage on perfect form and entered playoffs as the favorite to win the tournament. But for our young protagonist Joreuz, this was his first time on the biggest RLCS stage, playing in front of hundreds of thousands watching online.
I'm not gonna lie, literally all we had is nerfs. We had so many nerfs. First RLCS land for Jack and I, scrub with 2 rookies on the field. Playoff stage, top 8, you know every single loss is gonna be the end of you. Like, it was very easy to start feeling nervous, which we did, and we were still little kids even.
Despite the impressive Swiss performance, Dignitas had a heartbreaking Game 7 loss to Semper in the quarterfinals, eliminating them from the playoffs.
Don't blame Jack or myself for that. We showed so much good potential as well, which I'm proud of still.
Dignitas kept their spirits high after the fall major, and although they didn't win any regionals, they did quite well in the winter, comfortably qualifying for the winter major as the 2nd seed out of Europe, although things would quickly take a turn for the worse.
The fall major, it was a big bummer for us, but after that we still managed. Like, we made land quite comfortably, I would say. We played great, but then winter started with getting reverse swept by SSG. I think that kind of broke us mentally.
Dignitas lost their very first matchup in Los Angeles, getting reverse swept by Space Station. This ultimately set them at 2nd in the group and meant they would have a tough lower round matchup in the playoffs.
Evil Geniuses, like, it's a team that everyone should beat. It's yours to lose.
Unfortunately, Dignitas did lose to Evil Geniuses in another painful reverse sweep.
We had issues with confidence on LAN, and we didn't know who was going to be the captain on LAN. We switched every single game. We switched who's going to sit on the middle. People didn't feel confident when they were or were not in the middle. So we had a lot of mental issues. We all didn't feel that great on the game. We didn't play enough. Skill-wise, player-wise, we would be able to, but I think mentality-wise, we were just not there at all.
The mentality for Joreuz and Dignitas never did improve. They had a poor spring split, didn't even make it to the spring major, and just barely limped their way into qualifying for the World Championship. At Worlds, Joreuz and his team did make it out of the wildcard Swiss stage, but ultimately fell short in groups, ending their run at 13th to 16th. A disappointing World Championship for Joreuz, his teammates, and their fans.
We weren't there. We didn't have like the strength of mind to beat any team that's better than us.
Joreuz knew he needed a change of pace, he needed a new team, and so he looked to one of his former teammates, a blast from the past.
I was planning to team with Archie. The end of the Dignitas era as well, like Spring Split and Worlds, like we were already kind of talking a bit. Maybe next season, maybe with Jack. So I was really looking forward to teaming with him.
And so Joreuz joined Archie and Oli on Oxygen Esports, a squad that started their season off with a bang, winning the very first regional in dominant fashion.
Yeah, the split was the first region, of course, great. Yeah, you win it, and with Oli as well, which was a great player, and still is. It was great, like we felt we were on top of the world. We felt like we were #1 team in EU, and I feel like we kind of were that as well for a little bit.
Oxygen, however, did not handle the success well.
After first regional, our work rate dropped a lot. Archie and I definitely known for being low hour. Us three as a team did that after the first regional. We didn't put any work in, and it showed for the second one, and we bottled it.
A poor Regional 2 put Oxygen at risk of missing the international major. However, with a little bit of help from an extra chaotic European split and a better performance in Regional 3, they locked in their spot at the Rotterdam major.
In the end, we still made LAN very happy, and then we put so much work in on bootcamp. We all played like 100 hours every 2 weeks. We were fully prepared. We beat every single team.
At the major, Oxygen locked in.
Swiss went perfect Swiss again. I think we lost maybe 1 or 2 games, but it was great.
Another perfect Swiss for Joreuz, this time knocking off 3 straight North American squads to make it to the playoffs.
Then FaZe, home crowd, feels amazing. I had all my friends and family there. I think I had like 25 people there to cheer me on, and I felt great.
And despite having all the momentum, despite having his friends, family, and countrymen in the home crowd, Joreuz again stumbled.
But then the thoughts start creeping in when you're at stage like, ooh, am I gonna go out top 8 again? And we did start off strong that FaZe series, but there was like a 5% missing of just nerves not communicating because of the nerves falling quiet a little bit. And that series could have gone either way.
After a second crushing Game 7 loss in the playoffs after executing a perfect Swiss run, the moniker Joreuz would soon be known by was born: the Swiss Merchant.
It's probably one of the worst losses of my career, not quality-wise. Like, FaZe was a great team as well. Just in front of home crowd, just going out top 8 was just, it was heartbreaking for us.
Although they weren't disappointed with their performance at Rotterdam, Archie and Joreuz were disappointed with the result. And so they decided to drop Oli and pick up superstar Rise of Moist and Queso fame. Although this new-look Oxygen squad was arguably a super team on paper and cruised their way into a winter San Diego major berth, they were quickly coming apart at the seams.
I think it was mainly 2 reasons that it didn't work. One was that I think personality-wise we weren't the match at all. You see Archie and Rise on Twitter, on podcasts, and you see them trash-talking other teams, saying they're bad, they were great. I'm not a person like that. I don't like to be on social media a lot, but I definitely do not like to go out in public and trash talk everyone and saying you're the best. So I kind of felt uncomfortable in that team myself, which didn't help.
And to make matters worse, the team was facing an injury during the crucial push towards the major.
And then the other thing was Rise broke his wrist after the second regional. We didn't have scrims till like a week before the major, so we didn't really have a lot of time to actually develop as a team.
Be it the lack of preparation or a poor team environment, Oxygen struggled at the winter major, losing in round 1 of the playoffs to Vitality, ending their run at top 12. And for the first time in his career, Joreuz faced a roster change that wasn't his decision.
I was excited even after the major, like how Rise, Archie and I were going to progress, but Rise already found another team he wanted to join, which felt a little bit weird to me because I didn't really feel like he ever wanted to be with us in the first place. I can't say that, but that's how it felt to me because we literally only scrimped for 4 weeks in total. It's a story like why if it was, in my opinion, like too short to even say anything about us. We didn't have any practice together, and it's a weird part of my Rocket League career there.
After Rise left, the spring split Oxygen squad was rounded out by EXO. The team initially had high hopes, buoyed in part by an excellent performance at Gamers Without Borders that qualified them to Gamers 8 2023, a $2 million off-season tournament that would be held later in the year after the World Championship. However, in the actual RLCS matches, Oxygen struggled. They had an abysmal spring split, missed out on the spring major, and just barely qualified to the World Championship. Regardless of the way he qualified, Joreuz was determined to make his time at the World Championship one worth remembering.
We did a boot camp, and I came into with like, I'm gonna give it my all this Worlds. And I did. I think I was on like 120 hours. I've played there for every day for 12 hours with my teammates besides me.
Despite his efforts, despite being on a boot camp, Joreuz had concerns about the upcoming championship.
And it was a little bit concerning and saddening for me as well, because coming into Worlds after that boot camp, I was on 120 hours and I was on more than Archie and Ixo combined on hours. And like, I was streaming and they were playing slots next to me, which was a little bit sad.
Oxygen entered Worlds as a wildcard team, meaning they needed to win 3 matches in a Swiss bracket just to get to top 16. And in his worst performance in his entire career in an RLCS LAN, Joreuz failed to do so. His squad was eliminated at 1 win and 3 losses. They were out of the World Championship.
When we came there, I was very excited because I thought like we were still 3 decent players. We can make something happen this Worlds, but then I feel like literally our effort, I kind of want to leave myself out because I felt like I put so much effort in for that Worlds, but I feel like I kind of got screwed over by that because I didn't see it from my teammates. And that's why I think I made a tweet as well, like we had it coming. I ain't gonna delete that tweet because it's the truth in my opinion. Coming into Worlds with only like 40 to 50 hours, you're not gonna win. You've got 16 other teams there that are hungry. They do everything in their power to be prepared. And if you come in as a team with an average of like 60, 70 hours past due, the other 10 hungrier teams are gonna win it over you.
It was the kind of performance that left Joreuz knowing he needed a new home. But in an awkward twist of fate, the last page of the Oxygen story had not yet been written. Gamers 8 2023 was less than a month away, and Joreuz and his Oxygen squad had qualified, were going to attend. And this was a lucky break for Joreuz, as he had had a poor individual showing at the World Championship. He needed to prove that he was still a top-tier competitor. This was his chance to show the world what he was made of.
So even though, like I said, like I was very prepared like for Worlds, which I was, my Worlds wasn't great. I had a poor showing at Worlds even. I don't think I was the best on my team, even though I played more than them together. So for me, myself, I came into Gamers 8 with, I'm preparing very hard for this. I'm gonna put on a great showing for myself, because otherwise I don't know which offers I'm gonna get. I feel like that was my chance to still show I'm still great as a player. So I prepared my ass off for Gamers 8.
The preparation paid off. Oxygen went on a tear through their group, qualifying for playoffs without dropping a single match, and their run included a Game 5 victory over the reigning world champions Team Vitality. It even featured a 1v1 game where Joreuz took down Zen, whom many consider to be the best player in the world. Next up, Oxygen would face Version 1 in the quarterfinals, a tough North American team that had one of the most feared duos in the tournament, Daniel in Beast Mode. Oxygen started off strong, taking a 2-1 lead, but then in Game 4, Joreuz had to 1v1 Beast Mode, a match that ultimately went Beast Mode's way and tied up the series. Oxygen then lost the following game, putting Version 1 on match point and giving Joreuz a tough decision. Oxygen could choose to play 2v2 and put Joreuz alongside a teammate, or throw him right back into the 1v1. And despite the previous matchup, despite already having lost on the day, Joreuz doubled down.
I had more confidence in myself than in my teammates. That sounds horrible, but it's the truth. Like, I knew I was more than good enough to win versus Beast Mode. That's why I was so bummed out after I lost the first one, because I know I'm supposed to beat this guy. Through the first one, and I was like, okay, I'd rather have myself, like, I trust myself way more than I have 50% input and the other guy has 50% input. Just give me it again, because I had full confidence in myself.
That confidence, those guts, proved correct, as Joreuz took down Beast Mode in a 44-second overtime to force Game 7 and give his team a chance. And although Oxygen ultimately lost the series to Version 1, they put on a show no one had expected after their poor RLCS split, and Joreuz showed he still deserved that spotlight he had earned oh so long ago.
We were hungry, and it's a lot of money as well, and if one thing that can motivate players the most is money, so because every single win is like extra 10k in the pocket. We want to take as much as we can get, and them two played so well, and I think it's partly as well because we knew we were going to split up. We showed that we were all individually still there by just the 1s and the 2s and the 3s even beating Vitality, and that. It was refreshing, I'd say. It was a positive end to the team as well.
With Gamers 8 behind him, Joreuz left Oxygen on good terms and looked to set out on a new adventure.
So I already knew I want to go to NA. In my head, it wasn't because easier composition, easier to make money, bigger contract. But I'm still 18, I'm young. I don't have any commitments in life yet. I still live with my parents. Like, I just came out of school last year. And I was like, I want to just try something. I want to be somewhere different. And I got from Dignitas, I knew they had interest in me. Nick from N80 had interest in me. And I was like, I'm 18, I'm young. I've got a chance to live in America for 1 year. 1 year, like, what am I losing? I won't see my friends for like 6 to 8 months and my family, sure. But 6 to 8 months I can manage, and I just have like this big experience for myself. Because I'm from a small little village in Europe, in the Netherlands. And like, and I got the opportunity to like move out to the United States for like a year.
Joreuz wanted to take the opportunity to move to North America for a year. And so he reached out to a former coach and a former teammate to see what could work. Nick.
Like, I had great experience with him and Dignitas in the past, and then I also had a tryout from Dignitas with Panda. For me, a choice between them two, because I knew I was going to go to NA no matter what if I had the opportunity. After tryouts and for this, Nick managed to convince me about his plans to also get youngins into the game to teach them like a new way of Rocket League, and I just trusted Nick with it. And the tryouts went better with Amadius than with Dick. AJ, great player, of course, always looked up to him, so I was very eager to join him as a duo as well.
Joreuz decided to join M80 alongside Coach Nick and teammate AJ. But that left one last puzzle piece to find, and Joreuz had an idea.
And then I kind of was scouting for NAS. Not for this particular season, but in my head I was going to go to NA for a season, then I was going to go back to EU. I want to team with NAS when I come back to EU a year later. So I was already talking with NAS, I was playing with him. And then with M80, we had a few players that in the end it didn't really work out. And then I was like, okay, just ask Nas. Like the kids, even though he's 16 and he's still at school, like why should we just ask him? And he was so eager to join. It really surprised me, but I was really glad. It's like this guy, this little kid, he's a menace. Like, and he's always on the game. Plays 130 hours past 2 weeks. So much passion. It's so reviving as well, and he's great. It's really like AJ, the old mechanical veteran, and me, I'm just like middle-aged mechanical veteran, and you've got the little kid who's highly mechanical, and it just all came together. Worked out great.
Joreuz had found a team he could believe in again. But if they were going to have any chance at success in North America, they had to actually move over the pond. So Joreuz and Nas packed up their bags and flew out to Canada, where they'd be boot camping with Coach Nick for the first split of the season.
Yeah, Nick, Nas, and I are living in an apartment together, and we're like next to each other right now as well when you play, and it's been okay. We're all kind of quiet persons, but we all get along still. Like, so we're not having every single night we're screaming of laughter around each other, and we're having a deep conversation. But we all like each other. I think it's safe to consider we're friends. I think it's good for Nas as well to have people around him to support him, especially on the first season, and for me as well. It's nice just to have people you can talk to.
Joreuz and M80 entered the first regional of the North American split with high hopes. They believed not only could they make the major, but they could be the best team in North America. And for a moment, it looked like that might be the case. They went 3-0 in the Swiss, not losing a single match, a run that included a 3-1 win over Gen G, whom many power ranked to be the best team in North America before the split began. Despite entering playoffs as the #1 overall seed, M80 dropped their very first match to Shopify Rebellion. They were out of the playoffs at quarterfinals. Joreuz had to face his demons, as the Swiss merchant was back.
I mean, yeah, first regional, like everyone expected it. AJ's first regional, or team with Europeans, Nas and I both are moving across the pond, so it's like, if we're not gonna have those nerves and kind of shit the bed at some point in the first regional, it's gonna happen the second or the third, or maybe at LAN, so we're all kind of glad we got that out of the way. Like, we don't care that we lost top 8, because it was very obviously for us nerves. We can like work to get over that, which is great, so we're happy it happened already. And we were all very happy about how we played the first regional, of course, because we looked great. Like, we beat Gen D 3-1, that we kind of shit the bed against Shopify happens, but we know those nerves are going to come, not even if it wasn't this regional, maybe a next one.
Unfortunately for M80, Regional 2 felt like a broken record. Again, they went 3-0. Again, they beat Gen G, this time a sweep, and again, they lost in the quarterfinals. It's a bittersweet curse, that of the Swiss merchant, and it's one that Joreuz has to overcome if he ever wants to see success on Rocket League's biggest stage. Joreuz and his teammates haven't given up, however, and they are already looking towards the third regional, where they hope to lock in a spot to the first major of the 2024 season.
Our goal is, what we agreed with each other, is top 2, but mainly our goal is get to this major. It's gonna put us in such a great spot for Worlds, and we feel like we are a team. Maybe we won't be the favorites to win Worlds, and we don't have to be, but we feel like we can win majors with this team, and that's our goal. Just get to those majors, get to Worlds, and just grind our asses off, stay disciplined, and make something happen. Put NA back on the map, even though we're both 2 EU.
A huge thank you to Joreuz for agreeing to interview for this video. If you want to hear more of his story, go check him out.
Follow me on Twitch, Joreuz with an underscore at the end. Same thing for my Twitter. Thank you guys for watching.
Please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel if you want to see more docu-interviews with Rocket League pros. I've already got some in the work and you're not going to want to miss it. And a special thanks to all my channel members. Your monetary support is what makes this possible. Consider becoming a member if you want to be recognized at the end of videos, among other great perks. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an excellent day.